I poured a simple 50-cent liquid into my dead, compacted garden soil, and what happened 48 hours later felt like a biological miracle. Why is the solution, something so simple it costs less than a cup of coffee, hidden from the mainstream gardening narrative? The truth is, the billion-dollar agrochemical industry has spent the last century making sure you never connect a simple kitchen staple to the massive underground workforce that built the Earth's topsoil. Today, I'm going to show you how to turn your dead soil into black gold using the worm magnet method. This isn't a modern hack. It's a strategy based on a forgotten masterpiece by a man named Charles Darwin. Yes, the man who gave us the theory of evolution spent the final 40 years of his life obsessed with the humble earthworm. He called them the most important animals in the history of the world. If your garden is failing, it's because you've accidentally declared war on these creatures. It's time to sign a peace treaty. Charles Darwin is a household name for the origin of species, but almost nobody knows that his very last book, published just a year before he died, was about earthworms. It actually outsold his book on evolution in its first year. Darwin was so obsessed that he spent decades running bizarre experiments in his study. He played the piano and bassoon for worms to see if they could hear. He measured how they moved 20 tons of soil per acre every single year, and he watched them drag leaves deep into the subsoil. Darwin's conclusion was bold. Without earthworms, agriculture as we know it would be impossible. He argued that every grain of topsoil on this planet has passed through the gut of a worm at some point. For 145 years, mainstream science treated these claims as poetic exaggeration. But modern soil science has finally caught up. A massive, peer-reviewed meta-analysis recently compiled every study ever conducted on earthworm impact. The result? Having worms in your soil leads to a 25% increase in harvested crop yield and a 23% increase in total plant biomass. Think about that. You can have the same seeds, the same water, and the same sunlight, but if you have a thriving worm population, you get 25% more food for free. So why is your garden empty? Because we have spent the last 100 years building an environment specifically designed to drive them away or kill them outright. Every time you run a rototiller, you aren't loosening soil. You are demolishing vertical highways that took years to build. You're physically cutting your workers in half, and despite the old myth, a cut worm doesn't become two worms, it just becomes a dead worm. Why do so many gardens have zero worms? It's not a lack of luck, it's a biological crisis. Modern gardening is addicted to three things that act like poison to your soil's ecosystem: tilling, salts, and exposure. First, let's talk about chemical salts. Synthetic nitrogen fertilizers are essentially concentrated salts. Earthworms breathe through their sensitive, moist skin. When you pour these salts onto the soil, it creates osmotic stress. For a worm, crawling through chemically fertilized soil is the biological equivalent of you walking across a floor of hot coals while pouring salt on an open wound. They either dehydrate and die, or they flee to your neighbor's yard. Then there is the issue of bare soil. In an attempt to make gardens look tidy, we leave the dirt exposed to the sun. Unmulched soil on a summer afternoon can exceed 130 degrees Fahrenheit. Worms are 80% water. For them, dry, hot soil is like a vacuum. They can't breathe, they can't move, and they can't eat. They retreat deep into the subsoil and go into a state of dormancy, or they simply perish. To find out if your garden is a cemetery or a sanctuary, you can do the 1 cubic foot test. Dig up a 12-inch cube of your soil and count the worms. If you find fewer than 5, your soil biology is in critical condition. The worm magnet method is designed to fix this without you spending a single dime at a garden center. Now, let's talk about the liquid I poured into my garden. It is fermented rice water. When you rinse rice, the cloudy water you usually throw away is rich in starches, B vitamins, and minerals. But when you let that water ferment for 48 hours at room temperature, it becomes a concentrated microbial inoculant. Why does this work? Because earthworms don't actually eat the soil itself. They eat the microbes that colonize decomposing matter. By pouring this fermented solution into your garden, you are triggering a microbial bloom. This creates a chemical scent trail that worms can detect from over 30 feet away. It's like turning on a neon-free buffet sign in the middle of a desert, but the liquid is only the trigger. To keep the worms there, you need the worm sandwich infrastructure. This is a 4-step process that builds a 5-star resort for soil life. Step 1. The cardboard foundation. Take plain brown corrugated cardboard, no glossy prints, no tape. Lay it directly over your worst soil and soak it with a hose until it's heavy. Cardboard is pure cellulose, and earthworms are biologically hardwired to seek it out. It traps moisture and creates a dark, safe zone where they can surface even during the day. Step 2. The mulch blanket. Spread 4 to 6 inches of organic mulch, straw, shredded leaves, or wood chips directly on top of the cardboard. This replicates the forest floor, the environment where worms have thrived for 600 million years. This layer insulates the soil, keeping it cool in the summer and warm in the winter. Step 3. Feeding the workforce. Inside your worm sandwich, you need nitrogen. Spread coffee grounds, vegetable trimmings, and, most importantly, crushed eggshells under the mulch. Eggshells provide calcium for their egg cocoons and grit for their gizzards. Remember, worms have no teeth. They need grit to grind their food. No grit, no digestion. Step 4. Stop the destruction. You must stop tilling. Every time you turn the soil, you destroy the vertical tunnels built by anechoic worms, also known as night crawlers. These tunnels allow rainwater to soak in instead of running off, increasing soil aeration by 75%. When you stop tilling, these tunnels become permanent infrastructure, lined with nutrient-rich mucus where plant roots love to grow. What happens inside a worm's gut is the ultimate upcycling process. They consume organic debris and grind it with enzymes and billions of beneficial microorganisms. What comes out, the castings, is the most nutrient-dense substance on Earth. Worm castings have 5 times more nitrogen, 7 times more phosphorus, and 11 times more potassium than the soil they started with. Unlike chemicals, these nutrients are delivered in a slow-release biological form that won't burn your roots. Within 2 to 4 weeks of starting the worm magnet method, you will see a transformation. If you pull back the cardboard on a damp morning, you will see thousands of worms congregating. By month 3, your soil will change color. It will become darker and softer. Where you once needed a shovel, you'll be able to push your finger into the earth with 0 effort. You will also notice a change in the smell. Living soil has a rich, clean, earthy scent called geosmin, produced by the beneficial bacteria that keep your plants healthy. By the end of the first year, your worm sandwich will have stabilized a self-regenerating population that stores carbon and holds water. Stop buying the industry's lies. You don't need a lab-made chemical to grow a garden. You need a workforce. Darwin knew it over a century ago.